this slot. If you follow us on Facebook, then you would know I welcome you to Make Sense JXN. I am your host, Tarek Abdul-Tawwab. My co-host, young man, aka KP, aka Keandon, is on his way en route. He had a previous appointment that held him up a little bit, but he will be here in the studio. And today we are going to introduce you to our new slot. Now we're just not going to be here discussing the breakdowns of Jackson and trying to make sense of what's happening on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 4 to 5. We're also going to be here on Mondays from 4 to 5. And our goal is simply that we can uncover and discover enough that we can chart a new course forward, especially with everything that's happening right now. I don't think that I need to explain to you all what we have in front of us. I missed my producer. You all know I usually say, "Am I producing?" and compare. See what happens when KP's not here at the start. I usually make an incoming joke about my producer is not the young man, but my producer is here. So I'm gonna start with him. How you doing today, D? How's everything
going?
Doing
good, man. Doing good, man.
Good. See, and coming in off of this weekend, man, there's so much happening that an extra day is necessary. But let me just be very honest. The extra day came from you all, and so my appreciation goes out to the audience. Because I guarantee you an extra day is not possible unless you got folks that are listening to you, folks that are helping you learn, helping you be better, critiquing you when you need it, and applauding you when you're standing up for what's right. And that's who I think our audience is 99% made up of. So I'm excited to be here with you all on Mondays. I'm excited to break down these headlines today and to talk to you all about it. Remember, 601-948-5950. That's the call-in, because there's going to be a lot that I probably missed over the weekend. So if there's something big that I'm missing, I know a lot. I know a lot of people are talking about the arrest. I'm not going to lie about the FBI arrest of all those law enforcement.
Yeah.
But and I usually won't start with a story like that. But I do think that some of these stories have a bigger impact than we may necessarily notice. Because right now there are just a lot of African Americans in some form of government getting arrested at one time. And I mean, it's just spreading throughout the city and throughout everywhere. And then, of course, because I don't think that one of our listeners believe that we are criminal by nature, then I hope all of us would ask the question as to what's going on and why all of a sudden do we see such a rash of these arrests. I mean, mayors, everywhere. And, to my producer's point, and I'm going to give him credit for this, he talked to me how other states and even the country often follow the steps of Mississippi versus backwards, right? Mississippi is a testing ground, so to speak, for a lot of the oppressive conditions and policies that are put forth in this country. Busing, schooling, and otherwise. Once it's done here, that blueprint is copied in other places. So, it's just very interesting to see how our former mayor, how it started. It wasn't him, Andrew Gillum. There were a few before him, but how when you saw the most kind of unchallenged, the one case with the least amount of evidence, and once it went forward in Mississippi, you just saw folks drop like dominoes throughout the United States. There was no more Andrew Gillum, just these spaced out cases. It was every day you were looking. Before it was Eric Adams, that was huge, right? Andrew Gillum, that was huge. Then all of a sudden you saw Mississippi do it, and then it was just a lineup of dominoes, and you just saw black politicians and black police and black just everywhere just falling. It's a purge. Now, if that purge is based on things you all actually did, then obviously your behavior allowed them to purge. It's parallels. So I was also looking at during a commercial about an African American. I don't know where he worked. I'm not going to say the name of it, but he was talking about the store downsizing, and this is recently, and he was talking about how he walked through the store, and this is here in Mississippi, and found that every single one of his black peers had been fired or released, and every single white peer had been retained. And, when you start seeing these factually start to flow, folks have it right. This is a will to work state.
That happened at CBS News.
CBS, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I knew it was a drugstore. That's why I didn't want to say.
Not CBS.
Oh, CBS News.
CBS News.
Oh, that was CBS News. Oh, I might have to look that up, D, because that's
They fired like every one of their black correspondents, like all of them.
Yeah, and I think that I don't say that to just speak about folks getting fired. Everywhere people are going through hard times. We're going to talk later about how these snap cutoffs or threats of them, even though a judge has ordered them not to be cut, how that's going to leave folks in a lot of bad places as well. But I think when you see folks using an opportunity to purge of a race of people, I mean, it's clearly not linked to performance. Because from a performance, you're talking to a former manager, former director, from a performance review standpoint, you can get rid of people in Mississippi as easy as you can get rid of people anywhere. So it is totally absurd to think that you have that many African Americans that aren't performing. And throughout the United States, and that might not have even been in Mississippi, but you have performance reviews. I don't care if you're in a union setting. If folks aren't doing their job at that level, you can put them on steps, 30, 60, 90-day plans, and if they don't respond, you can get them out the company no matter how strong the union is, right? So to purge any job of all the black employees, let me tell you, and that's how people try to hide it in front of you. Oh, well, you know what? These were DIs. I don't care what they were. If they weren't doing the job in the United States of America, you can walk them through a process and you can get them out of there. So please don't believe the lies when all of a sudden you see half the staff getting removed and they're all African American, that they were all underperforming and DEI was the only reason they were there. That's crazy, right? But again, misinformation is what allows folks to continue to do things to people, and I've always said that. That's the primary means of keeping a people in an oppressed state is by misinformation. It's not by lack of applying funds where it needs to be applied. It's not even by having folks within our organizations and within our political community, African Americans, that are doing us disservices. It's more by us just not knowing that that's happening. So what would you think about this one? KP walking right into it, you all. But welcome, KP. I let them know about your previous appointment. This is our New Day Monday, so I know you couldn't change it, but how are you, man? Everything good?
As you can see, I'm here late, so I'm trying to make it.
You on time, brother. You on time, then, brother. It's a difference between late and it's a difference between on time, and you're on time. But everything going well, though?
Yeah, everything's fine.
No crazy Lyft drivers? KP usually has debates with Lyft drivers. He's taking my place as a key debate. I used to debate everywhere. Now I've had to calm down because my wife knows too many people. But KP has picked the baton up. The baton of debating with Lyft drivers when they have crazy outlooks on life. Let me just put it that way.
Besides them driving slow, not yet.
That's the stress. I got you. But you walked right in on it, KP. We're talking, as you can probably imagine, because we share the news sheet. We're talking about the FBI arrest of the multiple law enforcements in Mississippi Delta, and just how we're seeing a rash of African Americans being prosecuted right now. And time will tell whether their guilt or innocence is there. But I just wanted people here, and we're not going to hang on it because we're moving, but I just want people to understand how things start in Mississippi and then travel onwards. And I think that folks don't understand what goes into a mayor being indicted in a place where you have this many politicians surrounding him, right? And there being absolutely no words, no one speaking up, no one saying anything, right? Things don't happen by chance. Things happen by design. So I think that what we're going to see as more of these arrests happens, I think, and this is just me personally, but I think that you see. Even on the streets, let me just say this. When you see a lot of people starting to tell and the pressure starts to be applied, it's because folks are trying to get out of trouble. Mm-hmm. So the highest amount of arrests come, generally to me as a 50-year-old, I've learned, in any setting, the highest number of arrests come in a mob, anything, when folks are afraid of going to jail. So generally, when there's the higher up you go, the more people go to jail, right? Because the folks higher up know more. So I just say that to me, and I'm not making this up, guys. Go Google in the paper every day, a black politician arrested, ChatGPT, ask them to look up every black politician arrested since Trump has been in office. And you're going to see a very alarming trail that says that how are all these people just been in office in a hostile environments, a lot of them in southern places where the GOP dominates, but they never notice any of these crimes. Now all of a sudden with Trump in office, they notice that every black person they can see between here and there is guilty of something. And what they expect you to do is just hop on the bandwagon either way, but eyes wide open, we can just understand to shift things to the side and understand what the action is actually saying. The action is actually saying this is a purgatory. We're going to purge of everybody we can that doesn't see our way. And we're going to get to that route any means possible. And we're going to talk a lot how that's aligning with what's happening right in our city of Jackson, Mississippi. The alarming fact in Jackson, you all, is we have a black Democratic mayor. That's the part that has us waving flags and yelling help in Jackson, is that the same policies are being approached and being utilized right here. Where, we'll talk about William Herring, the airport board. He just got a new contract for all urine samples at the airport board. This is William Herring, part of Mayor Horn's transitional team, whose mother helped overturn the abortion ban. So you're starting to wonder now if these are the connections that are being taken care of versus the Jacksonians that keep asking us every time we're in a neighborhood, well, what about West Jackson and South Jackson? But every time we turn around, somebody on a transition team is being awarded somehow. So now we watch William Herring getting a contract so all airport employees will be tested through his company for urine analysis. Now we see Don Gabrielle markets popping up where the Indian Store Owners Association used to own all their stores. So you're seeing a shift. So we see Babadasi moving into downtown. Are those that own the stores, the Indian Homeowners Association that boasted that they own 90% of stores and gas stations in Jackson? Before you ever let somebody make this racial, when you're the Indian Store Owners Association and you boast out loud that you own everything in Jackson, then we got to keep an eye on you based on that name of what you are, right? And so you're seeing a transition where it's almost like we're being passed over in Jackson. A lot of money is being given out. A lot of tax credits are being given out. A lot of new permits are being given out. I still know a lot of people that work in the city, and it's bustling right now in the permits department, but it's not bustling for you. So you got to ask yourself, from a small business perspective, why don't we see small businesses popping up? Now we see good things, and we bring up those good things. But we also got to talk about how the national level is looking just like our city level. And I mean, we can continue to play around in Jackson and pretend it's not, but you know it is. We're under the same exact atmosphere as if we live in a completely red state. A city, excuse me. So, I mean, and that's just a fact. Leave that there for some setting. If you feel like we're not, from a policy standpoint, please let me know. Right? We're a city. Remember the ordinance we passed. We've outlawed homelessness. We've allowed all the mental facilities to be removed without a huge outcry. We let community groups, the descendants of Dr. King, be called racist in court by Reagan-appointed judges for asking for the same transparency that judge is now demanding. Yes, Dr. King was the leader of the Poor People's Campaign. Our ignorance sometimes is alarming. He was one of the leaders of the Poor People's Campaign, and when he passed, that's who carried his body with a mule and all the people marching behind him. And those are the people that were told, you're racist for asking what's happening. So what has our southern city come to when descendants of Dr. King's organization ask for transparency and are told by a Reagan-appointed judge that they're racist? And then we spin around a few months later, and that Reagan-appointed judge then says, now, Jackson Water, you've got to show them an online site. You've got to show them transparency. All the things that this group was called racist for asking for, we're demanding right now.
Too late now?
It's too late now because the action has already been taken. Blossom has already seen 100 families gone. Now you can redo that apartment and put some high price or some higher price apartments in there. And these things are recorded. You can go back in a few months and see if we're blowing smoke, or go to where Blossom Apartments is and see what that is in a few months. I think we all know what it's going to be. So these are the things that took place, and now I'm seeing the flowing posts, and it pisses KP off, and I fully understand it, and it bothers me as well. That the city's being sold away. Well, there was no difference in the evidence that is presenting itself now and the evidence that presented itself before in terms of the possibility of Jackson losing its autonomy. We had this conversation during the elections. So every conversation we need to say now needs to start with, my goodness, you know, the Republicans told us they wanted him in office and this was going to happen, and we didn't listen collectively. And then move from there, and then hopefully this time around we can select folk both on city council and on the mayor level that are actually looking out for the interests of the majority of the city, or push those in office now too. What do you think, KP? Fair enough? I was on the road when you weren't here. No, I'm just saying we need to push folks to do what they're supposed to do, or get folks in office that will. That's the ending.
What are your thoughts on the increase in the 1% sales tax?
Isn't that up on the table?
Mm-hmm.
So, and what is that to cover? I was just looking at that to help. I don't know if it's to help the folks with, but I don't.
We're not in control of it, regardless. We won't see any benefit from it, regardless.
Yeah, but it should be insulting somewhat to people. And I speak just factually. I'm not amped up. Oh, it should be insulting and disgusting. It should be a little bit insulting at a certain point. That you get fatigued, you know. So we had a 1% sales tax that was supposed to, the late Chokwe Lumumba brought everyone together around it. Didn't invent it. It was being fought for, but brought everyone together around it, got the people to walk through with it. We voted on a tax on ourselves.
For a specific
Practically
reason.
unheard of, for a specific reason. And I have the interviews of the newspapers with Jacksonians saying, I can't wait to get these roads fixed. Right? And that 1% sales tax commission went on to pull in over $120 million out of which I believe Jackson's streets or pockets saw about 30 million of that.
And they're increasing it.
And they're increasing the tax. You have essentially taken something that a late mayor that believed in self-sufficiency called people to do. Do you know how insulting that is? And I'm sure people are laughing about it. Oh yeah, this is the one Chokwe got them to do. Let's take this and let's give them to double up on it. And now let's take all of it. Because you're already taking 70% of it. That's unchallenged. These are facts.
Some would say it's against the law to do it the way they did it anyway.
Yeah, some would definitely say it's against the law to do it the way they did it. Just like this opioid settlement has seen it get redirected or readjusted so 70% goes into the legislative hands.
How about that when you live streaming on the Facebook page? What did they say? I didn't get to look at it.
Well, that one what KP is referencing is we live streamed earlier a actual I believe it was a Senate hearing about there's a board that was put together by Senator by Cindy Hyde Smith to determine. So basically, what the legislative did is voted. So almost $400 million is coming in opioid money into Mississippi, of which obviously Jackson deals with it, fights it. You see community groups with the fentanyl test or die campaign that was in front of the Capitol. So. At first, it was allotted to cities based on the people and the experiences they went through. Then the Mississippi legislative, and no surprise, then voted, no, we don't want to give it out to the people. Let's take 70% of that $400 million or more, and let's pull that into the legislative, and we'll decide to do with it. We'll take 15% and we'll give it to the cities. 15% we'll give to the cities. And this is bullying that you have to accept, but you at least have to be aware of. And so that 70% is then doled out based, you assume, on how good you would think your relationship is maybe with the government, because Jackson is in the highest need, but we'll see how much we actually get in that. But yeah, that's the story. What's the headline? Are you on that story now, Kippy?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm actually I was gonna look at the candidates for the upcoming election. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, no. It's but with that one, and we can definitely jump on that next. But this one is just Mississippi Opioid Settlement Council to evaluate grants requesting tens of millions of dollars. And they met today at 1 p.m. That's what we live streamed on Make It Make Sense Facebook page. And it just is talking about the fact that they met today with the goal of helping state lawmakers move closer in spending tens of millions of dollars to prevent deadly overdoses. So this spring, lawmakers established this council to make recommendations on how Mississippi should spend most of its money. Now, this should sound very familiar to you. Remember, let's create a regional board to determine what happens to your airport. Let's create a regional board to determine what happens to your water. These are money grabs because whatever they're grabbing has an income. So if I'm grabbing control of the opioid settlement money, that's over $400 million. And so I don't speak about this to go protest necessarily, even though you should speak up about what should be yours. I speak about it, and KP and I discuss it in the sense of you got to discover, you have to understand where the gaps are to help you. So when you make asinine comments like it's the young people that's the problem, you can shift your understanding as an adult and start to sound intelligent when you're out there talking about the problems in our community. You can start to talk top down instead of bottom up. And then we'll sound like we have the intelligence necessary to make some changes around here. But when you go inside of a dog shelter and ask them what the problem is, and they say the problem is there's doodle on the floor, you look at them like they're stupid. Well, how'd it get there? No, you're the human here. The problem is our children. Well, how'd it get that way? So right now we had a call. They called in last show. They talked about the mental illness and the drugs that these young people are taking and how they intermix into very dangerous situations. You don't think we need some of this $400 million to address that? First off, we need not to address stop giving us things to allow us to continue to do something, which is your goal. You just give me something to save a life once I'm ODing, then you're not addressing the root cause of what addiction is about. Something that's masking a bigger problem that's happening. Therapy. There's a lot of other things that can be meditating. Instead of investing money in natural ways, you'll pour hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into policing into the city. And that's why we say the city's currently looking like it's run by plantation Democrats. Because there are very simple steps you could take to start to address what's happening to these young people. And it seems we refuse to do that. And that's when we talk about I'd rather lose with our name on the back of the jersey. That's a common theme I say to you all. So when we talk about last administration, we have all of these efforts to try to bring forth black businesses and bring us together. And these young people lie. Well, if you're going to take a whipping with your name on the back of that jersey, meaning fighting for something that's going to benefit you. And right now, Jackson, we're sitting around taking a whipping for nothing that's coming back to us. So let me know how you feel about that. We're going to jump to the next story. I got KP back in the house so he can take over from here.
Man, I'm a little jet lagged. I'm trying to keep up with you.
You're fine. I'm going to adjust to you. You said you wanted to look at the elections.
Yeah, I was on the verge of trying to find the candidates, but it seems like they're giving me a hard time finding it, so we can just read another article for now.
Okay, now I'll find it for you. We'll go back to it.
Okay. You want to go ahead and read another article?
Yeah, we can look at the Jackson Water moving forward. KP has put together, this is a long list, but these are good things that are hitting us. But Jackson Water to move forward with the rate increase. So that one I think a lot of people were ready for. But basically,
which one?
The rate increase. Sent you an email.
Yeah, there should be another hearing I heard about this week coming up.
Okay.
There's a hearing. I don't think it's going to do anything though. I mean, he's pretty much going to do what he want to do anyway at this point. So
I see that, well, to your point then, I see 58 minutes ago, a federal judge calls emergency hearing after Jackson Water puts forth plan to raise the rates. So this is a connection. Thankfully, we've talked about this all the way through, and I hope and I pray that in connecting all of this information together, at some point, we start to remember places we stopped along the trip, and things start to make a little more sense. We can critically ourselves, you decide why you think it happened, but what my producer was talking about is the fact that now Hennepin, the third party over the water, has decided to raise the rates, and now the Judge Wingate, this is the same Judge Wingate moments we spoke about, the regular appointed judge that told the Poor People's Campaign, Dr. King's group, that said that we think that there's something wrong here, told them, well, you're racist for asking those questions. Now Ted Hennepin is moving forward with the rate increase. And last time they met, and correct me if I'm wrong, the judge told him he couldn't increase it, and Hennepin got very angry, I believe, the article said, and left the proceedings, left the hearings. Mm-hmm. So now,
and he didn't show up to the last.
He didn't show up. That's right. We screened it. He didn't show up to the last one. So there's some conflict there. But again, I think that you've got to keep your eye on the sparrow people, and I can't back off of that now. Understand that had we been given the ability as community groups and citizens to have transparency, this wouldn't be an issue right now. That's what you have to understand. So you've got to connect everything together or you'll be in the same situation. And when I say they'll rewrite this narrative on you people so quickly, your head will be spinning. The person who took everything will be looking like your champion or your hero, and you won't know which way is up in a few weeks. Because media is an amazing thing. So you've got to keep your eye on that sparrow and say, well, hold on a second, Judge. Hold on, Judge. Now you don't want Hennepin to do this, but when Dr. King's group said that this was happening, you called them racist. Not just said, hold off, you can't look at it. Not just said, well, get some more information and come tell me why. He didn't say, well, fill out some more paperwork because this is the wrong approach. He said, you guys are racist for saying that you need more oversight on what's happening to your water. Now we have North Jackson residents speaking up about their water being cut off. Now we see some different. You don't see what's happening? At least understand the platform you're on and the position you take. And then you can move forward holding those that are closest to you a little more accountable. So what did we see? We saw, not Lamar, who was it? The young lady that called the hearing over the North Jackson bill.
Was that Shonda Yates?
Shonda Yates, yeah. So Shonda Yates, and I always say, appropriately protecting our people, called a hearing about the billing going up on North Jackson residents or residents in her area. And you saw that go in front of a Senate hearing or judicial, something much bigger than we did. So again, we said we think there's a problem. We got called racist by an African-American judge appointed by Ronald Reagan. Right? And I give that shout out. The reason I keep saying Ronald Reagan is because when I say this is a collective approach to solving this, you've got some older people in our communities that fully understand what that meant then and what it means now. You've got church mice sometimes when these folks at the top in our community are doing what they want to do with our money and with our resources. Because a lot of us are scared inside, because deep inside, we know that they have won more than they have lost when they play around with the black dollar. But fear is not a reason not to stand up. As a matter of fact, it's a disrespect to those that came before you. And I'm especially talking to my elders. It's a disrespect. And I remember my grandfather used to talk to me, and one day he was talking to Andrew, they were talking about Dr. King and Abernathy. And I was just listening to them talk about the decisions that were being made and the restrictions on these men at this time. That's what you got to understand. The restrictions on your movement as a leader trying to demand civil rights in the 20s and 30s. You got folks today leading us with power. It's disgusting. And I think our forefathers and our ancestors would be disgusted by it. I know Medgar Evers would be disgusted by it. Disgusted fully that we're engaging with the same entities that wanted him dead. And I put it straight out there, and in 601-948-5950, I'll let you talk. Because I go off facts. I go off policies. I go off agreements. I go off collaborations. Just because you don't look at who someone's transitional team are, don't get mad because I do. And then I realized that you're full of people that are all getting rewarded right now. Don Gabriel Markets popping up everywhere. William Herring has a huge contract to